Hoo-wee! Hoo-wee! We are on the final part of me reacting to this thingamabob, but also kind of not reacting, but also is very reacting. It's a rewatch / reaction. Yes. Part 3. Do you hear that in the back? It's part 3! Anyway, yeah, we're on the Applejack part now. Like I said, literally, 10 seconds ago, this part is not as scary as the Twilight Sparkle part. You know, we're gonna chill. We're gonna be chilling out. We're gonna be chilling out. I got my
Case
Twilight
report.
Sparkle.
Summary of events. Submitted by Verdant Vines. Location, Ponyville. Case, Ponyville mass disappearance. Classification, top secret. To whom it may concern, what follows is an update on the status of the investigation into the disappearance of the entire citizenship of Ponyville. Since the discovery of the state of the town on April 16th, a full detachment of investigators has been relocated to the town. In addition, the advisor called Raven, representing Her Majesty Princess Celestia, remains on site and continues to offer as much aid as she can with our attempts at research.
Yeah, Celestia's still alive.
Since our arrival, several key updates have taken place. We have finished filling out the requisition forms for the remaining 3 of 16 shipments from the Canterlot archives. Once the final shipment arrives, we should have all possible relevant material available to our investigations. This also leads to the contents of the book Miss Sparkle mentioned in her journal entries, Ghosts, Goblins, and Ghoulish Figures, which seemed to contain information on the Shadow Walkers that she believed could be...
I swear that paper is gonna annoy me. Also, if I had this type of typewriter that had the little pole, skinny pole things popping up, I would just be spamming the same key and just have the little pole thing keep going up because it'll be so much fun to me. It'll just be so much fun to me.
Could be responsible. After a bit of searching, we discovered that the book did indeed contain an entry on the myths surrounding these creatures, and it is included as Supplement A attached to this report. Our main efforts remain divided on 3 fronts. The first is the quarantine of the area. Several guards and agents working in shifts have been dispatched at the major roadways leading into Ponyville and the skies surrounding it. Access to the town has been restricted under the pretense of a viral outbreak, though the reason offered may need to be modified the longer the investigation continues privately. This also includes the restriction of mail intended for Ponyville, which is currently being held by all postal officials, and unfortunately, barring entrance to residents who are away during the events. The second is a nationwide attempt to bar access and information until the disappearance is made public. Railways have been rerouted to pass far around the town, and scheduled weather is being held in Cloudsdale under the quarantine pretense.
You know, I just now realized something. Kool-Aid Tube never showed up again. We never saw Kool-Aid Tube ever again. Rest in peace, Kool-Aid Tube. We barely knew you, and you disappeared from our arms without a trace. He was the best of all of us.
In addition, agents in various major cities are seeking information about the fabricated events in the town. Lastly, our investigation within the town continues in full force. As stated before, the princess's advisor and some of the investigators are combing through every book available from the Canterlot archives to search for relevant information. This search has not brought much more to our attention, but the final shipments may shed some light. While there are still searches throughout the town to find additional logs, we are retaining the curfew of 1 hour before sunset and mandatory check-in and check-outs for all personnel, just in case any similar events begin to happen. However, the bulk of our search remains at Sweet Apple Acres. There were no fresh plots of soil we could find beyond the graves mentioned by Miss Sparkle, which were found to be empty after attempting to exhume the bodies there, and random digging or searches for any kind of marked spots turned up nothing else, until we searched the cellar at the edge of the property. It was not included in the original search due to its distance from the farmhouse and barn, as well as a lack of any light setup nearby that might have indicated it had been occupied. On first inspection, the cellar appeared to have been for the storage of seeds and farming equipment not regularly used, which are found instead in the barn. It is fairly small, roughly 10 feet by 20 feet, with a roof 6 feet tall, and the walls and floor are dirt, with a series of wooden supports for the structure. While taking stock of the items located inside, one of the investigators noticed an indentation where a trio of barrels were located, which seemed to indicate that one had been used. We dug into the wall near that location, and after an hour of searching, we found the journal, wrapped in heavy cloth. A transcription of the journal is being copied now and will be included in this letter.
Written in
My
heavy
chief
cloth.
investigator, White Clover.
This is probably something stupid to question, but why is it wrapped in heavy cloth? Why? Like, why wouldn't the person just place it in there? Also, how did they get to the cellar? We assume it's Applejack's journal, because we know it was Applejack that wrote the journal. As we can see from the picture thing. Artwork. But, like, why would Applejack go all the way to the cellar to place down a journal wrapped in heavy cloth? Like, I guess you would assume, like, there's something important in there, but how would Applejack, like, know that, like, this is something that's really important and it's gonna, like, aid stopping the Shadow Walkers, you know? But maybe we'll get that answer. Also, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, I'm still a little stressed out over here, because I'm still in the dark, and I'm still freaking out from that last part. Oh my god.
We'll continue searching for any relevant clues until further instructions are given. Sincerely, Verdant Vines, Head of Investigation Unit, Case number 3467. Supplement A. Excerpt from Ghosts, Goblins, and Ghoulish Figures.
I want to turn on the light.
Walkers. Believed origination 386 AC.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
From shadows they come, and light they will run. Their screech means hide till you see the sun. The tale of Shadow Walkers originated in the northern provinces of Equestria, near the once vast Blue Blossom Breaks. At its peak, the Blue Blossom Breaks was a major center of naturally occurring herbs, and many nearby towns, particularly
Is
Mustang
it
Marches,
mountain?
thrived from harvesting and selling either the herbs or concoctions made from them. As such, many of the ponies there worked within the woods, some into the dark of night. As such, it was only natural that campfire stories and warnings of danger would arise about something.
Imagine you're SpongeBob and Patrick, and you're just like, let's gather around the campfire and sing our campfire song, and then just a Shadow Walker, the corner of your eye just staring you down. Let's gather around the campfire and sing our... Oh my god! I'm still congested. Oh my god, my voice did not work for that. Oh my god.
Thing living within the woods. The tale would often go as follows. Several years ago, there was a pony who wandered into the Blue Blossom Breaks as the sun was setting in the sky. He was in search of a grave, rumored to hold dozens of herbs in abundance, but he worried that a search in the day would risk some passerby following him and challenging his claim to the grove.
Well, you should have done
Thus,
the
with
day.
his lantern and a
Did that,
half-full pack of provisions, he ventured into the woods alone.
Yeah.
For the first hour, he kept on the path, sure to mark a map in his satchel to lead him.
Oh my god, the path. He gets, like, off the path at some... This gets really weird. I don't remember how it gets weird, but I remember this getting really weird. Why do I remember this? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I remember so much from this. It's, like, all coming back to me as this, like, goes on. It's all coming back to me. Oh, it's so good. This piece of content on YouTube, it is a god amongst men. Oh!
lead him back once his search was done. It was after the first hour that he began to feel unsettled. He heard twigs cracking and leaves crumpling in the woods around him, but when he turned to look towards them, he saw nothing. He dismissed the noises as critters, unconcerned with him, and pressed on. After the second hour, the noises had ceased, and he took a moment to rest. As he ate, in the warmth of a small fire, he heard a screech like that of an owl. He
Well-
tried to ignore it until he heard
Like an owl, though. I'd probably suggest that the Shadow Walker's far away. Because you remember in the first part when the Shadow Walker screeched, it was like a train screeching to a halt. So either the Shadow Walkers got louder over time, or the Shadow Walker's pretty far away.
another and another. With each screech, the noise became louder and louder, until it
so
sounded
it's far
like it was
away.
only a few feet away. He hid within the fire's light, feeling a shiver of fear run up his spine, but
I
after
would too.
minutes of waiting, he heard and saw nothing.
Oh,
Carefully,
God.
the pony extinguished the fire and continued on his way. With every dozen steps he made deeper into the woods, the pony's eyes darted from side to side, glancing at the barely lit brush and trees within his eyesight.
I'm stressing
Every
out
minute
again.
or
Oh my
so,
God.
he would see some faint silhouette in the corner of his eye, but as he turned towards it, there was nothing. His pace quickened with each step until he was galloping through the woods, not
I
in
wanna
search of the
turn
grove,
around,
but in search
but I
of
can't.
escape. He
Like,
fled
physically.
in every direction he knew should lead him to the forest's edge for what seemed like hours, but there was nothing except the endless forest. Before long, he was exhausted, and his galloping grew to a trot, and then to a crawl. The screeching began again,
No,
slowly
no,
coming
please.
closer and closer, accompanied by a strong wind that caused his lantern to
Pick up the pace.
flicker.
Pick up the
The
pace.
last thing he saw was the faint image of a four-legged beast at the edge of his lantern's light, before its flickering light went out.
Flickering.
The myth still lives on as a campfire story in the northern parts of Equestria today.
Well-
And while the Blue Blossom Breaks are not the bustling center of herb harvesting that they once were, rumors of mysterious noises within the forest deter any would-be harvesters to this day.
Hey, hell no, I ain't going
The
that
following is a
thing.
transcript of the journal found in the wall of a cellar at Sweet Apple Acres. The book itself is thick, case-bound, and bears the words, Sweet Apple Acres Crop Rotation, Spring 83 to blank on the cover. There are several dried bloodstains along the spine and back cover of the book, but no bloodstains were found on the property. The farm itself was found with several lights hung in the orchard around the farmhouse and barn, half of which had been broken, and the remainder of which were deprived of power. Both the farmhouse and barn had been stocked with supplies similar to the library where Twilight Sparkle's journal was discovered. Behind the farmhouse, 3 plots of soil, identified by Twilight Sparkle's journal as fresh graves, were discovered, but they were found to be empty upon exhuming. The first 287 pages of the journal cover information about the usage and yields of the orchards at Sweet Apple Acres over the past few years. This information is extremely detailed, and was searched for any important notes or writing, but none were found. The following dozen pages are blank, and then the book was used as a journal by Applejack, a member of the Apple family who lived on the farm. As with Miss Sparkle's journal, the validity of the events recorded here are under question, and they conflict with the account of the journal of Miss Raven Inkwell found at the town's library.
Of course they do. Alright, okay, give me community, give me,
April 18th.
calm me down, please.
Well, I
Oh,
don't really know what to write, honestly.
April 19th. Oh, this is much further along than Twilight's Journal was when she first started writing, which is all. Didn't Twilight find the journal April 19th? I don't remember. Anyway, okay, so, okay, what was I thinking? Did I ever think in my life? No, hold on, hold on. Okay, I remember what I was gonna say. Applejack's journal goes way farther into May, if I remember. Like, this goes towards, like, I think towards the end of May, while Twilight, I don't even think made it to May, which is pretty interesting to think about.
It's been 2 days since the sun didn't come up. I figured I could start keeping a
2
journal
days.
to keep myself occupied
Oh.
and get my mind off everything.
Never
going on.
mind, I'm
And
stupid.
this was the only thing we really had on Hoof. Apple Bloom's still shaking up. wondering if Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle are alright. We're all doing our best to keep her calm, but I know the worrying is starting to get to all of us. So far, Granny Smith's pulled out the photo albums, her knitting set, and more than one cookbook. And Big Mac, well, he's much more talkative than usual. Meanwhile, things that make better sense than some campfire story are going on. I can't even step a hoof out of a candlewick's light without getting the chills. The darkness is just unnatural. There's not a light in the sky, and the only thing you can see is the town twinkling off in the distance. I keep hoping the girls are alright. Dash is the only one not with Twilight at the library, but I know that girl can take care of herself. The rest, I just hope they'll stay hunkered down to wait whatever
Is it Dash
this is about.
with you?
For us, we've got all the supplies we should need, and I'm sure this will all blow over soon. Why, I bet Twilight's got a nose in half a dozen books right now, trying to find an answer.
That's true.
And if any pony could figure it out, she can.
A little bit of comedy to calm myself down.
The margins of this page are filled with several numbers, ranging from 6 to 15. Several are crossed out, or followed by a question mark. On some instances of the numbers 12, 10, and 13 are circled.
April 19th.
Dates. Dates 6 through 15. Those are probably dates. And we have I'm pretty sure we have those entry logs in 12, 13. Oh, those are reported dates. I love the subtle hints towards something more terrifying and beyond my comprehension. I love feeling stupid. I don't know, this makes me feel so stupid, but I love it. Oh my god.
We got a surprise today, to say the least. It was around 1 in the afternoon, according to the clocks at least. Big Mac was helping me move a few more supplies over from the barn, and we saw lights getting closer from the town. I didn't know how to react, really. Granny Smith kept Apple Bloom away from the window and we locked the doors. Next thing we know, there's a dozen ponies marching through the orchard with lanterns, packs, and a couple of those lights they'd brought in from Canterlot. We were wary of trusting our eyes, but I had Big Mac come out with me to meet him. I recognized a few faces from town, and some of those ponies from Canterlot that arrived on the train, and then I saw Rainbow Dash at the back of the crowd.
Yay,
I was
Rainbow!
more than a little relieved to see her all right.
Hi,
But
Rainbow.
then one of the others stepped forward. He said his name was Spanner.
Hi,
and that
Spanner.
he was one of the investigators that came into town. He said they'd been holed up in a hotel near the edge of Ponyville, and after some talk and worry, assumed we would have enough supplies to share and space for them to stay. We hadn't
Brother,
really taken
huh?
full stock yet, but I talked it over with Granny Smith, Big Mac, and even Apple Bloom. We couldn't just turn all of them away, even if we had less than a hoofful of scraps.
Yeah.
We spent the next few hours hanging up their lights and getting them running, sorting out supplies, and setting up room for everyone in the barn. From the looks of it, we still have enough food and water for every pony to last us a few weeks, and there's still a few trees close to the farmhouse we can get some food from if we need it. I offered some space in the house for Dash, so the whole barn wasn't packed full, and then we set up a watch rotation on Spanner's recommendation, which Big Mac, Dash, and I volunteered for again. I'm glad they've got every pony's safety at heart, and I'll be damned if I don't do what I can to help. April 20th. It was actually kind of normal on the farm today.
Hey,
We
nice.
kept our
Let's
guests
go.
occupied out in the barn, telling stories and enjoying some of
See,
Granny's
nice
cooking.
and relaxing. We
Apple
were
Bloom had
chilling.
one of her classmates to talk and play with, even if it wasn't Sweetie Belle or Scootaloo.
Was
Dash
it
kept
Twist?
complaining about not being able to stretch her wings beyond circling the barn, but we took some time to try and relax together, even if that was just talking and praying the others were still safe and warm. We can barely see the library from here, and it makes me wish we had a telescope or something to be sure.
See, do you see what I mean by, like, this one being a lot more, like, chill and relaxing instead of, like, you don't feel that stress as much, you know? Because, like, it really just feels like you're in a tiny little, mini little town instead of, like, so isolated and just surrounded by, like, you're still surrounded by, like, the darkness and like, the terribleness in the barn, but there's just a lot more, you feel a lot more safe and relaxed, and I feel, dare I say, warm.
But it looks lit. I also took some time to talk to Spanner. He came with another investigator, Sugarcane, and 3 guards, and said the rest of their party had bunked up at Town Hall. He wasn't too worried about him, though. Said they were more than tough enough. I tried to ask him if they had any idea what was happening, or if they were working on a solution, but he wouldn't talk about it. That's probably for the best. For now, I just need some sleep. Got an early watch tomorrow that I need to be wide awake for. April 20th.
Dude, I'm paranoid. I was literally just talking about how I was like, yeah, I'm relaxing, you know, this is much more chill. And I'm literally just sitting here paranoid, be like, I'm literally imagining, like, just sitting here watching the video, reacting to it, and then just, like, the loudest, poundiest noises coming at my door, just bam, 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 and then just, like, it keeps going until, like, some creature just lunges in, and I'm just like, ah, God, I'm dead, ah. So it's a lot more scarier in my head, trust me. Oh my God.
April 21st. I had a nightmare. It feels like a bad one. Whispers, shadows, running through a dark forest.
Dark
it was like
forest?
A ghost story.
Huh.
I just can't seem to remember it all now.
So it was a little bit
Like
of
it's
a
foggy.
ghost motif.
Some memory
Just
from a
interesting.
dozen years ago. It was there when I woke up, for just a second, being scared for my life, for my family, with my heart racing a mile a minute. But now, it's just gone. I know it sounds far-fetched, but after I heard some others talking about bad dreams too, I talked to them about it. They didn't seem to remember them clearly either, but maybe it's all just nerves. I mean, Big Mac and Dash didn't seem like they were unsettled, and Apple Bloom looks more chipper than the past few days.
Why are there so many
Anyway,
bad nightmares?
I didn't end up getting much sleep because of
I
that,
swear if I have a nightmare
but I
tonight, I'm
kept
gonna
going strong
float.
for every pony else's benefit. Something else is still nagging at me, though. I overheard one of the guards talking with Spanner earlier about wanting to do something instead of sitting around. I think they want to try and go to another town to see if it's like this. I know he probably won't let them go through with it, but if they try to, everyone else probably won't react calmly. Hopefully I'm right, and we just stay put. April 22nd. There was a crash behind the barn in the early morning, from where we were keeping some of the crates of supplies. Big
Let
Neck
it
and
be
the
a
guards
rat.
tried to keep everyone calm, while Spanner, Sugarcane, and I rushed back to see what was going on. I was surprised by what we found. We'd hung a couple of lanterns around the barn and
I
farmhouse,
mean, I would be fine if it
and
was
3
a
of them had
Timberwolf
been
at this
smashed
point.
on the ground, luckily without causing a fire. There were splinters of wood from 2 crates scattered about, and the insides had been picked clean. There weren't any hoof prints in the dirt, or claw marks on anything.
It's a shadow walker.
That wasn't the strangest thing. The air felt odd. Almost
Cold?
dead. And
Dead.
though it wasn't cold, something made my bones shiver, even in the light. It was like the
That's interesting. Because throughout all of these instances, well, almost all, except that one time with Twilight, where the Shadow Walkers were, like, once they, like, Twilight embraced the Shadow Walkers, it was, like, more warm. But every time with the Shadow Walkers, they've been associated with cold, and you can kind of, like, reasonably assume that the lanterns being snuffed out was caused by the Shadow Walkers, because, you know, the no hoof prints, and, you know, the fact that they hate light. But the air was dead instead of cold. That's such a weird difference to point out, but you still shiver, though. So again, that implies the Shadow Walkers, but why is the air not cold? Instead, it's dead. Like, why in that one instance would it be dead instead of cold? Like, that's so... Oh, it's I'm running out of reactions. I'm running out of reactions to flip through, because I feel like I'm just giving the same reaction of just like, oh, that's so interesting, that's so weird, that's so crazy, you know? Every single time something like this happens, it's happened so many times because of how good it is that I've run out of reactions. I have run out of things to say. Cough through the fear.
The feeling that you were being watched from everywhere, and it took hours for it to really go away. I didn't tell anyone about it, except for Dash later. I guess because I thought it was just a feeling. Anyway, I was a little cautious about coming back to everyone else with news like that, and so were Spanner and Sugarcane. When we got back, they told everyone the crates had been stacked poorly, and unfortunately, everything in them was ruined.
No, that's worse
Didn't seem like
news.
everyone was happy with that answer, but at least getting an answer calmed everyone down. Until
Could've come
one
up
of
with
those
such a
guards
better
from
answer.
yesterday started a ruckus. He'd been off in a corner for most of the time he wasn't on watch, and the next thing I know, he's marching over to Spanner and shouting about twiddling our hooves instead of doing something. Then 3 other ponies jumped up and complained about the same thing, and then everyone started arguing until Granny Smith managed to quiet them down. I can't say it was the most civil discussion I've seen, but it's decided now. 2 of them are leaving tomorrow. They're going to head north, towards Trottenham. It's a little less than a day's trot.
They're not
so whether
gonna
they actually
make
find it or
it.
not, we'll hear back in about 2 or
No.
3 days.
Oh,
I don't know what's out there causing this, but I pray they make it back safely.
They will, but not as themselves.
That supports my theory that the Shadow Walkers spread like a virus. They like infect the others, and they multiply by literally infecting a regular pony and making them become a Shadow Walker. That's cool. Cool. I was gonna say something else. Shoot, why am I so forgetful? Oh god, forgetting. No, that makes them angry. No! Okay, I remember now. There's also like the a little bit of a running motif of prayer as well. You know, Pinkie Pie praying. Amen.
There are numerous watermarks on this page and the next.
April 23rd. The guards set off in the morning, and every pony's been real quiet since. I guess they're all anxious to see them come back, even if it'll be 2 days at the least. I took Dash aside for a bit to see how she was feeling. She's as chipper and tough as ever, but she wishes she could at least get answers instead of lazing about on the farm all day and night. I'd like some answers too,
On the inside,
but
though, I bet
Spanner
she's
and
probably
Sugarcane don't
scared as
seem
heck.
prone to opening up about all this. Maybe Dash and I could try looking for something, but I don't have any idea where to start.
Always watching.
In fact, I've been thinking about
Whoa,
yesterday
okay.
and the broken boxes behind the barn. If something's out there that's been causing all this, and it just ran up, broke 3 lanterns, picked 2 crates clean, and vanished without a trace, could we find it? Could we
Nope.
stop it?
Nope.
I don't think anyone's doubting that whatever it is shouldn't be natural. But then, what could it be?
Always waiting.
I guess the
Waiting?
only hope I have
For
now is
what?
that Twilight will arrive at the farm with a plan and an answer. Maybe after we see the sun come up.
You did arrive at the farm.
Some part of me knows it's unlikely, but sometimes that's what hopes are for. Just to take your mind off things.
For the next chance.
I had another nightmare.
Hmm.
It was pitch black, but I know I was still at the farm. I could hear something clawing and scratching at the doors and windows, even at the floor.
Scrap.
Someone was close, but I couldn't see who. They just kept asking why over and over again.
Why?
I tried to
Why?
speak to comfort them, but nothing came out. Then they were gone. There wasn't a scream, the floor didn't give out, nothing grabbed them. They were just gone. It got colder, deep in my bones, and then I heard their voice again. They told me to stop fighting. That's when I
Fighting
woke
makes
up.
it hurt.
For the next feast.
feast. Y'all hungry? Just eat some turkey. Eat some animals. Stop torturing the ponies. I don't know. Eat a freaking rat, and God.
If the other dream was the one I couldn't remember, this is the one that won't go away. I've tried to sleep, but I just hear the scratching again, and then I get cold. I don't want to wake anyone up, but I have to tell someone about it in the morning. Maybe it'll be gone by then.
Scratching.
Really lucky.
For the fun of it.
I didn't hear what you said that time. I'm sorry.
April 24th. I don't know what to think anymore. The way this all looks just doesn't make sense.
Just because it seems in sync.
Things were quiet until around noon. That's when the guards we'd seen off 2 days ago showed back up, except it wasn't from the north towards Trottenham. They came from the south.
Doesn't mean the needle's not skipping.
They were shouting and screaming nonsense as they galloped in.
They just went around the entire world, guys. There's no problem here. They just took a long route.
That got our attention before the faint lantern lights. They were out of breath, their gear and manes ragged and dirty. They were mumbling about shadows, trees, and mazes, at least from what I could understand.
Mazes?
It took us a while to calm them down, but the only thing we got out of them was a week, and then they were out like a light. We didn't.
A week till the impending disaster on the barn. Also, mazes. Mazes? Why a maze? Where does a maze fit into any of this? What kind of information, what kind of event, what kind of dialogue, narration, any word in this fic have to do anything with a maze? That makes no sense to me at all. But that's like the type of curveball where you're just like, no, there's gotta be sense to it. There's gotta be something with it. And like I said before, I've run out of reaction. I can't just say, oh, that's interesting, that's super neat, because
We didn't find out what that was until a few hours later, when one of them woke back up. We had moved them into the farmhouse to give them a bit more comfort. I volunteered to keep watch over them, and I called for Spanner when he started to stir. It took a few moments for him to start rambling again, but this time it was clearer. He said they headed north toward the woods, but as soon as they got in, the trees never stopped. They doubled back after an hour, but the path was different. Then they started hearing things in the distance and seeing figures out of the corner of their eyes.
So I guess the trees was like a
He
maze.
said they ran for days, at least a week. But that's impossible.
A week. Oh my
They
god.
left here 2 days ago. Spanner told me not to tell the others, just to not get them worried about feverish ramblings. But my curiosity got the better of me. I talked to Dash, and I asked her how long the sky had been dark before she saw the others coming here. Before they got here. She said 5 days.
It's all perspective. You just can't trust your own.
Perspective.
April 25th. The nightmares don't want to go away. Every time I close my eyes, to sleep or not, I hear the clawing, and I see eyes, I think. But
You think?
they feel so empty. It's pitch black.
Oh, trying to
I know they're
eyes.
there, watching. Everyone else is still worrying about the guards that came back, muttering to themselves and each other.
Oh, let's do a little bit of quick research here. Let's see if there's. Sorry, I had to move the phone there for a second. See if there's any symbolism for empty eyes. What do empty eyes symbolize? The term empty eyes is frequently used to describe an observable characteristics in individuals with bipolar disorder. This is not medically accepted term, but a colloquial phrase utilized to depict the void or absence of emotional depth, often perceived in the eyes of those suffering from this disorder. Interesting. Huh. So it's like, I mean, I think we can rule out that the shadow ponies, the shadow walkers probably don't have bipolar disorder, but the no emotion thing. Actually, I don't think I would believe that either, because with our main shadow walker narrator, that sounds like Pinkie Pie. Like really, shoot, my brain stopped working. Like the shadow pony really seems to have some sort of emotion with like her inflection and just her dialogue in general. It seems more like angry and more knowledgeable of what's going on, and it's just like, y'all should have, like, those moments where like y'all should have listened, you should stop fighting and all that kind of stuff. There's emotion that is seemingly tied to it, so I don't really believe that the Shadow Walkers would be devoid without emotion. But I guess maybe in the nightmare, apparently they were devoid of emotion, which that's kind of interesting to think about.
Each other. They're definitely improving, but still seem a little shook up. I can still see the library from here, but what if they've been stuck there for weeks longer than us? What if they're gone? I didn't tell anyone else about what I heard yet. I'm sure Spanner wouldn't let me anyway. It's for the best, for their comfort. But what about mine? April 26th.
So I think Twilight and the rest of her friends probably were in that library for much longer than they thought. They probably went days. Like Twilight probably wrote one sorry, to give an example, she was like April 25th, and then 6 days later she'll write a log of April 26th, even though it's been 6 days, but they don't realize it. That's probably what happened to them. At least that's what I'm thinking. And for some reason, something about the perspective, twisted time for them, or twisted how time felt to them. But that's another interesting thing to bounce off of.
26. The guards were back on their hoofs today, at least for a bit, but Spanner wanted them to keep resting. I figured he knows what's best for them. But in the meantime, we've had to ask for some others to help with keeping watch. They were willing, but I just wonder if they're able to. I had a better night's sleep than the last few, I suppose. I can still remember the other nightmares, but at least I didn't have one last night. Have to appreciate the little things, I suppose. In fact, I had a dream that felt like a regular old day in Ponyville.
Nice.
Dash was practicing this new trick, Rarity had some new dresses to show off, and Twilight kept rambling about this rare tome she got shipped in from Canterlot. It really felt like all this had just been some fever dream, until I woke up.
So Twilight has this moment where she's like, I wish I could just wake up from all this and wake up in Ponyville and just have everything back to normal. So it's like, she's wanting this whole thing that's happening to be a nightmare, but then we have Applejack here kind of having the opposite thing happen to her, where she literally dreams everything's normal, but then wakes up into this reality. Oh my God. There's so many amazing touches and parallels and symbolism. There's so many things in this that are just so fun and terrifying and amazing to analyze and speculate and interpret. Oh, this thing's a masterpiece, I swear.
I know this will be over soon. It just feels like it.
It will. And screams. And submission. Both.
You're getting less scary, Shadow Walker. I'm sorry. Get your dialogue better.
This page is covered in several water stains.
Or tear stains.
April 27th. It all happened so fast. Dash and I were keeping watch, a little late into the night, with 2 others. Everyone else was either asleep or relaxing in the barn. And then we heard a scream. It came from
So
over
was
by
this
the
scream-
farmhouse, where one of the others was patrolling. I ran over as fast as we could, while Big Mac kept everyone else huddled in the barn. When we got there, his lantern was broken, and we could only see him at the edge of our own.
Is Leonard?
He was clawing at the ground, like something was pulling him. And then something black reached out and just swallowed him whole. I tried to run forward to help him or to see what was doing this.
They've infiltrated.
All that was left were the grooves he left in the dirt,
Oh.
stretching out into the dark. By the time Spanner got to us, there was another scream back at the barn. I thought it might have been another one of these things, but when we got back, Big Mac was trying to restrain one of the ponies. His coat was stained with this black sort of soot, or something, and it looked like it was spreading. He
Oh,
was shouting for us to let it in and give up, and one of the others was on the ground, trying to nurse a wound. Spanner was quicker than me. He ran up, kicked him in the head, and he was out cold. We tied him up in the corner.
I got this. Boom! Just bam! Kicked him in the head. Bam. Easy solution. Done.
Helped nurse the other pony's wounds, and then we told Spanner about what happened to the pony on the other side of the farm. I wasn't surprised when he told everyone to grab as many supplies as they could carry and move to the house. But I was when we left that pony tied up in the barn. For now, we just need to stay safe and in the light. I won't let it happen again.
Won't.
The following phrases are written in the margins of the page multiple times.
Why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I say anything? Was I afraid? Did I know? Did he deserve the worst? Had I already given in? April 28th. Everyone's been on edge, asking
I'm on
Spanner
edge.
questions and
I've been on
demanding
edge for the
answers.
past hour.
But he's just like the rest of us. He tried to explain that they're just as in the dark, but promised they would keep everyone safe. It's only the 5 of them, with 2 of them resting upstairs. But I trust Spanner wants to do the most he can to protect everyone. The rest of the time, we just kept watch. The lights we left out in the orchard are still up, and even if these things try to knock them down, it will let us know where they are. Maybe that will be enough warning to keep us safe. Meanwhile, Dash is more wound up than before. I had to stop her from flying circles in the living room 3 times. She was upset for the first time since she got here. That it's all she really has left. I saw one of the lights in town go out. They're so faint from here, but I know I saw it. I don't think it was the library, but...
One by one, lights and lives going out.
I'm sorry, but okay. I do actually have another critique. Wow, guys, whoa, crazy. Am I right, guys? Whoa. I think they're starting to use the Shadow Walker a little bit too much here, because I feel like the Shadow Walker definitely works a lot better in more sparingly, so that you kind of build up to the moment where it does speak, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like super confused now, because I feel like when you use it too much, like every line is supposed to like have like, because you've already built up the Shadow Walker to have every time they speak to feel more like mysterious, ominous, and give you some sort of thing that is just like, well, what does that mean, you know? And so it feels like every single time that Shadow Walker speaks, it has to be like that. But eventually you're gonna run out of stuff to, you know, symbolically or just like very vaguely reference. So you get lines. Instead, you get lines with, yes, one by one, lights and lives are going out. Like, yeah, we already know that, though. We've known that since the pretty much the very beginning of this whole situation. Like, you didn't need to say that. It didn't really add to the atmosphere or the fear factor. Because, again, we already know that. You don't need to say that.
I just want this to be over. I just want everyone to be safe. I just want to see everyone smiling again.
Smiling? They are.
This page's writing style is different from the other pages, and the letters RD are written in the top left-hand corner of the page.
Oh, okay. Hi, Rainbow.
April 30th. Things went bad yesterday. Those things came back. From inside. I was with Applejack, Big Mac, and Tarsh, one of the guards, towards the end of our watch. Spanner said the other 2 guards that had left for a bit would be back on their hooves today, and that they were alright. He came down with sugarcane in them. We let him know that we hadn't seen anything near the orchard, and said our goodnights. Applejack and I went to get ready for bed, and she stopped me from flying circles again. She started to try writing in this journal, and I started arguing. But then we heard a thud from downstairs. We ran down as quick as we could. Well, as quick as Applejack could. And we saw one of the guards collapsed at the foot of the stairs. I tried to get close, but Applejack stopped me when she saw blood. Well,
Black blood.
Least it seemed like blood, but it was thicker and black.
I'm so good.
His body just started twitching and writhing on the floor, trying to get back up. But it didn't seem like he was awake at all, because his body was still limp. Applejack looked shocked.
It was like completely limp, bleeding black thick blood, but still like spazzing out trying to get up and twitching and... Oh, what the... Like, I'm like picturing that, but also having a hard time picturing that at the same time. Oh, it's so strange. I love it.
Hot. I guess I was too. But I pushed him away so that we could get by. I kept an eye on him while Applejack went to find the others. His body just kept twitching, and his coat started turning black. I started backing away before Applejack came back and told me she found the others. Holed up
It's
by the
becoming
kitchen.
more like a disease.
When we got to them, though,
Like
their
an
group was
infection.
smaller than I remembered. The other guard that had relieved us was gone. Spanner said he'd changed too, and the couple that owned the hotel they'd left from wasn't there. We all just kept hunkered down for a while and tried to tend to a colt one of the guards had bitten. He was the one that had been injured in the barn the other day, and he was looking worse by the minute. Things were quiet for a while, and if we hadn't relaxed, we might have been able to stop what happened. We didn't notice the colt's coat changing, or that he grabbed a knife from the floor,
Oh.
until he grabbed Apple Bloom.
Oh no.
We tried to calm him down and keep Applejack from charging him, but he kept saying that it was all hopeless.
Hope.
He started
Oh my
to
God,
relax,
hope.
just for a little bit, but we couldn't get Apple Bloom away before he cut her and bit
No.
one of her legs.
Babe, what is
Gone
with
not long after
biting?
Big Mac got a hold of him. Applejack and Granny Smith were tending to Apple Bloom, but Sugarcane and Spanner walked up to them. They wanted to cut off her leg.
Oh
already
no.
see it starting to turn
no,
black.
no.
They said they were sure that there was enough evidence that contact with these things or being injured by them was enough to make you change. They thought if they cut off where it was growing, that it would do something.
So in the Twilight section, there was a moment where Fluttershy, I think, bit one of the friends. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Twilight, if it was Pinky, if it was Spike or Rarity. But it is very interesting to note that that phenomenon did not happen when Fluttershy bit one of the friends, which adds to the kind of contradictory there we go, type of nature that these two journals have. There's conflicting information in both the Twilight Journal and the Applejack Journal that suggests that for some reason the perspective changes how these creatures, these shadow walkers, and their abilities perform and act. But like, how and why? God.
I didn't know what to think. But it didn't sound entirely crazy. At least the way they defended it. But Applejack wouldn't hear of it. We gathered all the supplies we could and moved upstairs, blocking off the staircase. It was quiet for a few hours, but Apple Bloom just kept getting worse. She was feverish, and this black stuff just kept spreading. Slowly. No one seemed to want to say anything with how angry Applejack had gotten. She probably would have just kept saying no. At least until Grace took her aside.
Fluttershy definitely got infected.
I don't know what she said to her, but she was holding back tears when she came back. Spanner grabbed a medical kit and a knife. It was only messy for a moment. Apple Bloom was feeling a lot better a few hours later. Applejack doesn't want to think about what happened.
I wouldn't want to
She still
think about
wanted
that
me to
either.
write it all down, in case someone else finds this. I can't blame her. I would want to forget if it was my family.
This page has the letters AJ in the corner.
Okay.
May 1st. It's hard to think we've been holed up
made
here
it to
on the farm
May.
for 2 weeks. And the things keep getting worse. I've been resting since we moved upstairs, but I think I'll be ready to help with the watch again soon. The nightmares haven't come back, but it's still hard to sleep.
Notice how it's zooming out and the left side isn't able to be seen. It's kind of like, hey, they're gone. They come back.
I can hear what sounds like hoof steps downstairs, but no one has seen anything come from the stairs. I don't have a view of the town from my bedroom window, but maybe I'll take a look tomorrow. Rainbow Dash came to talk with me for a bit before bed, and to let me know everyone's doing fine. She's worried about me, I know, even if she wouldn't say it. I know
I'm
the
stressing
others are
out
too.
again. Oh my god.
I'm just tired. We all are, aren't we? I
I'm
wanted to ask her
tired
if I should have said no,
24/7.
but it's not for me, her, to say. Apple Bloom will be fine. She's safe. We're safe. I just know it.
We're safe, right?
I had to wake up in the night to help Granny.
See, again, there's no point to the Shadow Walker saying, no, you are. Like, we are an hour and 30 minutes into this, and we have already seen a lot of major cases of dramatic irony and just like, oh yeah, they have hope, but it probably won't turn out good for them in the end. You may still be holding out hope, but you know deep down in your heart that they're not going to be okay. So the Shadow Walker just saying, no, you aren't. Like, yeah, no, duh. Again, you're just spitting out information that we are already well accustomed to and we already know. There's no point to it. No point to it. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of taking me out of the moment. It's kind of taking me out of the moment. Like, I'm putting that as a big criticism here.
Apple Bloom's dressings need changing. She said that she was getting better. Her fever was long gone, and there wasn't any sign of infection. She's really a trooper. I barely even saw her flinch while we did it.
May
Can't
2nd,
move much on
Applebloom's
her own.
dead.
But her spirits are holding up all the same. I'm proud.
Candle.
I kept hearing it all night in my dreams. Just a whisper in the dark behind the walls and from downstairs. I couldn't understand it, but it felt angry. It was so silent, but I couldn't ignore it. It was dark, but I could see a shadow. There were
Voices got
screams.
out of sync.
I think they were drowned out by the whispers. It's never gonna leave. But I couldn't make them.
So why did the candle show up for that? Oh, also how did I never realize this? There's a candle in the top left corner. I've been staring at that candle. I've stared at the candle multiple times, and I've literally. Why did I never come to think of there's a candle in that top left corner for the Applejack section, for the Applejack group in the artwork. Why is that the case? That again. That's another interesting detail. I don't know if that's meant to be hey, this is important. This contributes to the lore and the theory crafting or whatever. But I don't know. It may or may not be important.
May 2nd. The journal was open when I woke up.
Oh,
I didn't write it. I don't even remember waking up before now. And no one else would have written this. Not even Pinky or Dash could be that cold.
What did it say?
I felt better after I put it out of my mind. But it didn't stop there. I went to go do my turn at watch, letting Bulwark take a break. But the next thing I know, Dash is telling me to get some rest. I was just looking at the town, the library, the black in the distance, and the time just seemed to fly by. It barely seemed like a few minutes. But then, when I saw the clock when I went to my room, it had been hours. I asked Dash if anyone had come to talk to me. She didn't think so, and I don't remember anyone. She must have thought I was crazy. Maybe
Things
I'm
are
not as
changing.
well as I think. But there are so few of us left. I can't just lie around and let everyone else take care of me. I have to keep pulling my weight. I just have to. At least I'm not having the nightmares anymore.
May 3rd, I had a nightmare.
May 3rd. It's quiet. That's what Dash said. But she's wrong. Sleeping, the watch, it all just goes by so fast. Except when I hear them and see them. The shadows moving in the black. And the whispers hitting in the silence. They're always there, even when I can't see or hear. I told Dash and Big Mac. They thought I was joking, or that my nerves were getting the better of me. I know what I saw and what I heard. It's only quiet because they're waiting and watching.
So it's quite interesting that both Applejack and Twilight, the journal keepers, for some reason, they're the ones that kind of get surrounded by the whispering. Well, then again, there's no definitive way to really say if the some of the other ponies that got infected by the Shadow Walkers were also experiencing that kind of fully being surrounded 24/7 by whispers. No, I'm gonna abandon this thought because this is probably a very stupid thought. I'm just gonna say it is a stupid thought. I'm just gonna move on, and we're just gonna forget. Now I know that forgetting makes them angry, but honey, I don't care.
It couldn't just be me. But every wind sounds like howling. Every tap sounds like banging hooves. The creaking sounds like hushed, quiet hoof steps. sneaking up from behind.
Yeah.
How can I not treat them like that? I have to be ready. I won't let it happen again.
I won't.
I won't let Apple Bloom get hurt again.
You
The
can't.
writing on this page is shaky, sporadic and spaced randomly. It has been compiled with ease of reading in mind.
May 3rd.
Candle.
No, 5th? 4th?
Let's call it
I
this
can't
20,
remember.
20
I
purple.
remember writing these things, but not them. Is that how many came? I thought it was this many. If I keep writing, I'll remember. It's working, I think. I'm supposed to keep watch. Somewhere. Dash will know. Or Spanner.
She's losing track
Is
of
it
time.
ever gonna come back up? Is Twilight still there? And the others? She's still trying, I hope, to fix it. Please let her fix it. The others that came. 13? 7? For now, it's 7 in the family. Are the others gone? Changed? Is that what will happen to all of us? Is that why I can't remember? Why can everyone else? The noises and shadows don't stop. They were always there, even when I didn't notice. I want to make them stop and leave. I keep trying. They want me to. It's not now. Always not.
No, please, just you salty cracker. You please, you could have told me what they wanted you to do. You could have, but you didn't. You didn't. Oh.
But I have to sleep. Maybe it's all nerves or... Please, let it end.
This page is stained with blots of ink and blood, along with several patches of wet parchment. There are
Okay, I'm gonna say this now. I've been recording for over an hour and 2 minutes. The video might suddenly end because I will run out of recording space. Hopefully we can get to the end of the video, but there's a very real chance of that happening. So there might be 4 parts, quite possibly.
There are still very
Just
little
warning
signs
y'all.
of bloodshed within the farmhouse that can substantiate this entry.
May 5th. I woke up from nightmares. I can remember now, but it was hazy before. I was alone, downstairs. It was dark, but warm. It wasn't like the shadows, like the cold. But there was no light. There were whispers. They kept getting louder and louder, begging me to stop. I heard Mom and Dad.
Begging you to stop.
They were sad and angry, and they just all sounded so angry. I tried to move or run.
Forgetting makes them
I
angry.
couldn't. The walls started shaking, the windows shattered, and I felt something behind me. I woke up.
I'm not turning
I
around
just
physically.
sat there, thinking, trying to understand or ignore it.
Don't ignore
And
it.
then I heard screams. It was Apple Bloom. I knew it before I heard it. I jumped to my hooves and ran into the hallway. It was dark. The barricade was gone, and the doors to the other rooms were broken. I saw them. Those things from downstairs. But they were darker. They were swallowing the light. There were 3.
Darker.
I couldn't see into the room. I called for Apple Bloom and the others, but I only heard the screaming. I think there were whispers too. I ran at them. I had to help everyone. I had to. It seemed to
Kick
go
him
on
in the face.
forever. I never fought like that, like some gung-ho Mustang. I
Do a
stopped
little
and dashed
smackety smack smack
quickly
smack on
away.
them.
The barricade was still there. The doors weren't broken. It was Brad. The screams stopped. Granny, Big Mac,
No.
Apple Bloom,
No.
they were